All right, so Tech in 10 this week, I've made it slightly different in that there's a few more core skills that I'd like you to have a look at, and not so much pedagogy or sharing today. In fact, I've devoted the entire 10 whole minutes to looking at some core skills. So let's get started. The first one is KeyChain. The KeyChain Access app on your MacBook is basically a tool that allows you to access passwords that you may have saved to particular websites and other places online. We all have those times where you've forgotten the password to a particular site, you can't remember for the life of you, and even though you've tried every combination that you think of, as soon as you find out what it was, you kick yourself and remembering that that's right, I changed it back in November when I had to do this thing with a thing with a thing. So KeyChain Access just stores all those in a local on your computer place. So it's not stored anywhere outside of your computer, it's just on your computer, and it's protected by your computer password, the one that you use to log into the computer, the one that you use when you're installing things and that kind of stuff. So the only way you can see the password is using that MacBook master password. So to find KeyChain, there's a couple of different places in your Launchpad, the little rocket ship there, and you'll see a little search bar at the top there. And if I just type in K or KE, I've got KeyChain and Keynote, so I can click KeyChain Access. A quicker way to get to a search for anything on your MacBook is to hold Command and Spacebar, and you get a spotlight search. And you can type anything in there, a document, an email, it'll search for it on your whole entire MacBook. So in the same way, I'm going to press key, and you can see it's filled in the rest for me. KeyChain Access, I press return, and I'm in KeyChain Access now. So there's a whole ton of websites and places online that I have stored passwords for. All those times when it says, do you want to remember this password? That's where it's being stored in KeyChain. So at the top here, I'm just going to use this YouTube one. This is our school YouTube channel one, so I'm not revealing anything too secretive here. This little box will come up, and you'll see the show password box. When I tick that, it's going to ask me for my master password from my computer, and it's dotted. And if I get it wrong, it shakes. So if anyone's trying to get in, that's what they just won't be able to get it. But if I'm right, you'll see down here, it shows the password, and then I can go ahead and log in if I've forgotten. So the little points to just note the dates and things that are here. Sometimes you might have multiple passwords for that one website, depending on who logged in. Maybe you've got a partner that's got a Gmail account, and there's two lots of that on your MacBook. Or you updated it at some point, so I always look for the most recent date on it. That's usually the right one, but you can try a few different ones, but that's where you find it. If it's not in there, it's probably because you didn't ask it to remember, and that's you're out of luck with that one. Sorry, but that's where the KeyChain and how KeyChain works. I picked up on that KeyChain Access has been a really needed little tip from the health check survey. I could see that on average most people didn't know where that was or how it works. So if you haven't yet filled in that survey, that's the reason why I've asked you to do it, so that I can direct our learning in the right spot. Okay, that's just a quick...
Very quickly.
No, it'll be in the video.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can watch it again, because otherwise I'll go over time too much. All right, so the next one is Office for Mac. Now, Office for Mac 2016 is the latest version of the Office suite, so PowerPoint, Word and Excel will be the ones that you're most familiar with. However, you can't do this next step unless you've done the Sierra update. So if you haven't yet done your Sierra update, you'll need to do this first. In fact, I might mention that Sierra is now the standard operating system for our Macs, and because of that, all of our IT solutions are based on Sierra. So in a nutshell, if you've got an issue with your MacBook and it's not updated to Sierra, the first thing Liam will be saying is, are you updated to Sierra? And if you haven't updated to Sierra, that's the first thing he's going to ask you to do before he can even fix it. So that's just, I guess, there's a little bit more time, I guess, before you absolutely need to do that. But if you haven't done your Sierra thing, I urge you to do that as quickly as possible. So what I'm going to do is I've already got on my computer, so my trusty assistant here is getting a free ride, really, but that's okay. So we're going to do this on Liz's computer. And I'm just going to show you where to go to get that and install it. It's pretty straightforward like most of the things, but it's knowing where to start from, I guess, is the best bit. Alright, from the school portal, I'm looking at this little cog, which is the settings. And from there, I'm going to Office 365 settings. And then on that page, it's the software link. And you can see all the Office suite there. I'm going to press install. And I'm going to save the file. And you'll see it up in the downloads here, downloading. Best to do it at school, a bit faster. So while that's happening, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove the old version of Office. So in the applications inside Finder, you'll see a folder called Microsoft Office 2011. I'm going to drag that to the trash. And even though I've dragged that to the trash, these icons will still be on the dock, so I'm going to pull them up and they say remove. Actually, this one's not deleting because I've still got Word open and I've still got Excel open, so I'll close those. Now that they're closed, I can remove them. So I just drag them up out of the dock until it says remove and let go. Might get rid of this link one as well, don't need that, into the trash. And now when the new Office gets installed, we won't have any clashes with different versions. So I'm going to speed up this video now because we don't need to sit and watch this download for 20 minutes. Alright, so that's finished downloading and I can see the file sitting there. It'll also be my downloads folder. I click it to open it. And if that little window is hiding, which it seems like it is for me, you'll see the little downloads or installer package just hiding underneath there. To open that or force it to the front, close that, but then down in the dock you'll see installer, click that and bring it to the front. So now we just make our way through this, continue, we're going to agree and press install, and this will be your computer password. Get Liz to put that in for me. And it goes ahead and installs it. Alright, it says it's successful. I close that, and it's asking me if I want to move the install file to the trash. I will. Now in my Launchpad I can see Microsoft Word. I'm going to drag that down to the dock to keep it handy for me. And Excel, PowerPoint. I could also move OneNote. That might come in handy in the future. You can do this for any of the apps that are in your Launchpad. Alright, I'm going to open up Word. And it's the first time I've opened up this new version of Word, so I'm likely to get a few things like this. So I'm going to move my way through that, get started, and I'm going to sign in using my Cathode authentication. So I'll get Liz to do that for me. I'll click Next. It'll ask me for a password at the Brisbane Catholic Education sign-in window. That's your normal Cathode sign-in. Click Sign In. It's activating my license. Alright, I can just go through, continue on this, and we're all set. Click the Start Using Word button, and you've got your standard open a new document. You can see I'm logged in at the top there, but I'm going to open. My OneDrive is already connected, and that will be probably my site. I've also got on my Mac that's stored locally, but I'm going to add a new place, and it's a SharePoint place. It's asking for a URL, so I'm going to go off to the school portal now in my browser, and I'm going to go to the staff portal and to the documents library. Now I'm looking at the URL bar, and I want to grab the bit that ends with documents. I don't really need to go further than that. I'm going to copy and paste that part of the URL into the box that it was asking me for in Word. I'm going to paste that in there. Ends with documents. I press Next. And that'll take a second to sync. Right, if I click there now, you can see I've got Brisbane Catholic Education and shared documents. There's General and Curriculum, and all the other folders and structure that's in our portal is now accessible directly inside Word. And you'll do the same for PowerPoint and Excel, and make those connections from within. It works the same when you're saving a Word doc. You can save using this structure as well, so you don't actually need to go to the portal or even have a browser open. The next thing is kind of a serious one. It's the due diligence tool that Brisbane Catholic Education has developed over time. This one's it's a bit of an eye-opener when you sit in a room talking to people about it, and they're also very serious about it, so it kind of puts you in that frame of mind where you sort of sit up and listen. To give you an idea, on the KWeb, in the Information Services page, when you click Due Diligence Tool, at the bottom of it, it says, for further information, contact the BCE Legal Department. That's what this is, the field that we're talking about. So it's a legal thing. So for a while, schools have been fairly loose with how they use software in their school, and over time, as you would expect, there have been instances where that has caused harm to students or has let data go out there that shouldn't have gone out there. And so in an effort to stop that from happening, BC have developed to assist us with it, a due diligence tool, which is really just a form that gets filled in and a kind of a set of instructions. So in a nutshell, because it's pretty simple but it's also complicated, if you want to use any kind of web-based tool or an app on a device or a website that, say, the one I've got an example of is Study Loader, for example, if you've got anything that's going online or if it's on an iPad, because most iPad apps, even if it seems like they're only working on the iPad, they're actually sending data back to the developer nearly all the time. So our due diligence is to check the developer's privacy agreement and their terms and conditions, and they're usually a one-page document on their website or inside the app. We've got to read through that and then fill in the due diligence form. The due diligence form, I'll show you exactly where to find that. This time this will work. So from the portal, there we go. I'm going to go to KWeb. And then Information Services. And then in this Learning and Collaboration cell, there's Due Diligence Online Tools and Services. All right. There's some information there, which is basically what I've just said. There's a little link to the template, and there's a whole bunch of ones that people have already done and uploaded. That's really handy to use as a guide because the software updates so quickly that if they've checked out and done their due diligence on the app that they loaded 12 months ago, it's highly likely that their privacy statement has changed since then, and it could change for the better or it could change for the worse. So you might have checked it once and they said, yeah, we don't take any data from the students. And then they realised that that data is actually very valuable to our product, so we are actually going to start taking that data. They're not required to tell you about that, so you've got to keep checking their privacy statement to make sure that it's all legit. Once it's installed, the reality of that is we may have to come up with a system of auditing that over time as a school, but initially to get the things installed, we have to go through this process. If it shows anywhere that you either can't tell, these are the big points, if you can't tell where the data is being stored, then you have to inform the parents that you're using that app, what it's being used for, and where the data is being stored. So if you're not sure where it's being stored, that's the same as it being stored overseas. If it's stored in Australia, that's different. There's a different protocol around that because we're actually operating under a federal law, and if it's stored on Australian soil, it's under the Australian law, so we can deal with that. But outside of Australia, it's a problem. Doesn't mean you can't use it, it just means you have to inform parents of it. So you can have a look at any of these ones. You might find the one that you're looking for, but just be aware that some of these dates go back a fair way, and you might want to check that yourself. In fact, you should. But the template looks like this, it's just a Word document, and they're looking for things like, have you read the terms and conditions? Do they retain ownership and control over the data, or do we retain ownership of that data? So you've got to kind of read through. It's a bit of a tedious one, but unfortunately, it's not just a BCE requirement, it's a federal law requirement. We have to do this now. It's actually been in place, I think, since 2015, but as I said, we've kind of been a bit loose, not just us, but schools in general. Once you've done the due diligence, you then make a decision as an individual entity. That was the thing that got my ears pricked up. It's not a decision at school level. It's not a decision even as a team. It's you as a person are making that decision to use that software. So if there is an issue with that piece of software and the data goes out and there's some kind of issue, it will be you that's personally liable for that. So you won't be protected under the Stella Maris umbrella or under the BCE umbrella because the onus is on you to make that decision whether it's a good tool or not to use. So it kind of makes you think, is this really, do I really want to use it? Because I've got to do a lot of work to actually get it to use it. But if it is that good, you probably find that really good apps don't have those kinds of problems. They're usually made by educationalists who are trying to find their toehold in that industry, which is huge. Education software industry is massive. So just be wary, you've got to check the terms and conditions. Ask people if you're not sure, have you used it, have you checked it, what did you think about that? Check the ones that have already been done, and then make a decision based on whether you think there's too many red flags, or if we tell our parents that we're going to use it and why, and give them an opt-out option there. As a school, we can come up with a system that works maybe more across the school, but the decisions will still be on your table. So I just want to make you aware of that. It's not a Stella Maris thing, it's not a BCE thing, it's Australia-wide. That's pretty much it, because I didn't get that installation done, which would have taken a little bit longer. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I probably don't know any more about that now than you do, but they have people that we can contact and get them to talk about it to us, for us. Any questions I can answer right now? If you haven't done that survey, it'd be great to do that survey too. It takes about 5 minutes. And the Sierra update. Tekken 10.